Hey, CRB1 families. This is Kristen Smedley, CEO and co-founder of the Curing Retinal Blindness Foundation, with some stellar members of my team here to talk today about how to do an easy breezy, lemon squeezy GoFundMe. We had mentioned in a meeting out on Facebook just last week about Brooklyn coming on to teach all of you about how literally how easy it was to set this up, how she did it step by step, so that I know it sounds overwhelming to do a $10,000 fundraiser, but wait till you see just how simple in the step by step it is. And we've got an army of people here to help. So I'm gonna introduce our treasurer, Kim Hoffman, to give you a quick thing about the funds and where they go and who she is.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kim. I'm the treasurer for the foundation. Anybody, if you have any questions about the funds, where they go, what we do with them, you can send an email to me, kim@crb1.org, and I'll answer all your questions and let you know if you have issues like if you're setting up a fundraiser, you don't know what to do, how to get the funds to us, I'll be able to answer all those for you.
Great. Okay. And that's kim@crb1.org. And if something she can't figure out technically, she's got her sidekick Mike right next to her that'll figure it out. This is such a family of families. Anytime you have a question, just send it to us and we'll help you figure it out. This is not like the massive corporate thing. We are just looking to get you help and get the fundraising going. So without further ado, we'll turn it over to Brooklyn, who is going to walk us through how to do. I'm actually very interested in this because I have not done the GoFundMe. So I'm going to be on the edge of my seat too. So take it away, Brooklyn.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share now. Let's see. Can you guys all see it?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I'm Brooklyn. I have two kiddos with LCA CRB1. And so one of the reasons I wanted to do a GoFundMe was, one, because it was easy. I know so many people who have done it and have been successful at it. So I figured, you know what, with COVID going on and everything else, I'm going to go ahead and make one and just see how it goes. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty intimidated at first because I thought, what if no one donates $1? And then I thought I can just donate myself in. It can look like somebody donated something. So why do a GoFundMe? For one, it's simple, it's easy, it doesn't take long. It really is just a few clicks and you have a GoFundMe. All right, so let's see. So if you go to GoFundMe.com, and I'm going to apologize now, this is going to seem very simple, a lot of these steps, but just in case somebody doesn't know how to do it, I wanted to walk through every step. So if you just go to GoFundMe.com and you hit start a GoFundMe. All right, so I'm going to pretend like I don't have a GoFundMe and walk you through it. Okay, so we're going to make sure to hit a nonprofit or charity because CRBF is a nonprofit, which is great because we're going to get some extra good things because of that. So if you type in your zip code, so I'll go ahead and just do Elkhart where I live, and then you're going to search for the nonprofit. So Curing Retinal, right there. All right, so make sure you get the right one. It's going to have the logo and the verified nonprofit. All right, so this is a really big part of what your GoFundMe is and what it says about what you're raising funds for. So the title is huge. And I changed this, gosh, probably 3 to 5 times before really settling on a title. This is what people are going to see and what's going to draw their attention. So for me, it was, I believe mine is Nadine and Vivian are going blind. And as harsh as that sounds and as like, whoa, that's a really strong title, it really pulls people in because people are like, what in the world is going on? I think especially when I first started this and I made it that title, so many people were just wanting to know what I was talking about. So they clicked on the GoFundMe. All right, so if we type in just any title, or let's say help us find a cure. So I recommend something a little stronger than that, more with your child's name in it. That's going to attract people. But then you just hit next. All right, the amount. So in the beginning, I put a small amount because I was pretty intimidated and scared to put a big amount. Again, what happens if no one donates? And then I had a friend tell me, if you put a small amount, what people do is they look at it and they say, you're going to easily get that. I don't need to donate. But if you have a big amount, people are going to look at it and say, wow, you're going to need a lot of donations. So I know that we are trying to fund Peter Quinn $80,000, I believe. I think that's still what, yeah. So I went ahead and went from 10,000 and put it to 80,000. Okay. So don't be afraid of putting the big number in there because we're trying to raise as much money as we can for a cure. Okay. All right. So the next is choosing a cover photo. This is also pretty big because we want to draw people in and really we want to pull on heartstrings. So we want to have a photo of our child on the GoFundMe so that they can see who they're donating to, and where exactly the money's going and who your child is and why you're doing this. So for now, I'm just going to choose a cover photo. Yep, so it looks good. So I'm going to hit next. All right. So they're going to go ahead and say, they're going to give you this template. I just recommend deleting it. And this is where I think was probably the hardest part for me was coming up with, okay, tell my story. My story is over the course of years. So how do I write what I need to say, get people to understand what LCA CRB1 is, why we're raising funds, where the funds are going, and is this even close to ever going to be a reality? Like, are we really in reach of getting this? So this is where Pete Quinn and Kristen came in and really helped me write my template. This template I would love to give to anybody that's willing to start a GoFundMe for their child. If you just reach out to me, which I will give you my info at the end of this, I will email you the template, and you can literally copy and paste and just change your the names of your child, obviously. So if I even go ahead right here and show you guys what mine looks like. So I have here the top, I'm pointing to my screen like you can see my hand. At the top, I have who I am, who my kids are, and what's happened, right? So they got this diagnosis of Leber's congenital amaurosis. The doctors believe that they're going to continue to lose vision. And then just, hey, if you donate to this isn't only for me and my kids, this is for countless other families also affected by CRB1. Okay, and then here we have, but you know what? The great thing is we have actually done this before. It's been done. There is a gene therapy out for another gene mutation, and this is in just really simplified terms so that people can understand it. And then we went ahead and said, this is what CRBF is doing, and Peter Quinn wrote this part as well and just talked about what he's doing and a little bit about him. At the bottom here, we were published by Love What Matters. So it's just a more detailed version of our story. So if you want to add more about your story there, I highly recommend it. I think people really want to know about you and where the money's going. Again, I will copy and paste all of this to you so you don't even have to come up with it. You can just literally copy, paste, take my kids' names out of it and put your kids in there. Okay. All right. So this is where we're just going to say what we want to say. All right. So then we're going to go to next. Oh, please enter a description. Oh, a longer description. All right. Let's see. All right. So here it is. And then we're just going to launch it. So donors will donate and receive a tax receipts from PayPal Giving Fund. So what's great is that they can write this off because it's going to a nonprofit. So that's one of the perks about CRBF being a nonprofit. Here is where your link is, okay? So that's how you start a GoFundMe. Oh, and it's giving me an email confirmation. All right, I started a GoFundMe. Okay, so that is how easy it is to start a GoFundMe. I mean, 5 steps, okay? Anybody really is capable of doing this. All right, so next I just wanna talk about when you get donations. So this is a big one on keeping donations really coming through and people feeling appreciated for their donation. So if you see here, Over here, we've raised a little over 20,000, but we've had people mail in checks because of the GoFundMe. So some people just wanted to mail it right in and not pay any of the fees with it. All right, so if I go to manage fundraiser and I go down here, it's going to tell me the people I already said thanks to. So if it says thanks again, I already wrote them and said thanks, but I highly recommend always taking a minute and to personally write everybody and just thank them for their donation and how much of an impact that has on what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, so little things like that make all the difference. If you have, I'm not a huge email person, but if you work for a huge company and you ask your boss if you can send out a mass email of your GoFundMe, this is the place to do it. You can send out emails and texts to everybody you know to get everybody sharing your GoFundMe and donating to it. All right, so updates. This is another big one. Once you have your GoFundMe up, and just so you know, these are not things you have to do. These are just, look, I haven't updated in 10 months. These are just things to update and give people reason to come view your GoFundMe again and see what's going on. So you can post stuff like, thank you all so much. Every donation is so appreciated. Please continue to pray for a cure. Just little things like that keep people involved, because when they donate, they'll type in their email and they'll get every update. All right. So that is how you start a GoFundMe. That's the basis of it. Now, the part of actually getting donations is we have to ask ourselves, okay, where do we share this? Obviously, social media is our best friend here, right? It's a love-hate relationship with social media. But I would say one of the biggest platforms was Facebook. So with Facebook, something you're going to notice is every time you share it, right, the picture you chose is going to come up. And here I have tagged GoFundMe fundraising because I have seen them actually repost fundraisers and those get tons of donations, right? So if we have all of us constantly tagging them, right, we're bound to get one, right? One of them is going to get shared. And then hashtags. Right? So GoFundMe, there are random rich people that will click on GoFundMe and want to go donate to something, okay? Or somebody's just feeling really generous. That happens all the time. Tag CRB1. You just come up with hashtags that are going to take people to another area of Facebook where they can see all the places that they could donate to if they wanted to, right? So there's lots of people just that have money that want to donate. There's a lot of generous people out there. So I highly recommend hashtagging GoFundMe. And so a little bit of tricks about, I'm just going to be specific about Facebook for a minute. Okay. So when you post something and you want it to get attention, there's a few little tricks you can do. One of those is the day before you're going to share your GoFundMe, share something that's going to get a lot of engagement. Okay, so I know for me, whenever I share pictures of my kids, people just click and comment and like, and I get a lot more likes on pictures of my kids than I do when I share a quote or a picture of me or something, right? Everybody wants to see my kids more than anything. So if I post a photo of my kids and it gets a lot of comments, then I can go on there and be engaging with them, right? So heart it, like it, get a lot of something that's going to really get a lot of people engaged and commenting on your post. You can even do like a poll to be silly. Do a poll and get a lot of people clicking and answering, and then make sure you're commenting back and liking it. So the more people we get to see your Facebook, the more people that are going to see your posts. So the next day, when you go to share your GoFundMe is going to come up and be seen by way more people because of the traction you had the day before. Okay, so there's just a little hint at getting more people looking at your GoFundMe. Another thing is people will say there's certain times to share on Facebook, and after doing lots of research, it seems as though like there's lots of conflicting information about the best time. So what I noticed is that if I post during the day, Monday through Friday, while people are at work, I will get likes and comments on my GoFundMe, but I won't get donations. And I think that's because people at work are just kind of mindlessly scrolling and don't really want to go get their purse and make a payment or a donation. So I think during the day for me, when people are at work, I don't get as many donations as I do when I do it around like 9 p.m. at night, when people have put their kids to bed and can just lay in bed and relax and be on their phone or their computer scrolling and engaging. Okay. So just a few things about GoFundMe. Just, I would also say, think of the times you are most on social media and have the most time to open a GoFundMe and actually read it. Share then. You're going to get a lot more engagement there. I think the first time you share your GoFundMe, you're going to get the most engagement, and don't be discouraged if after you share it so many times, you don't get as much. I mean, I have shared this so many times. Actually, I think it has been shared. I believe my GoFundMe has been shared like almost 8,000 times. Yeah, almost 8,000 times on Facebook. It's got tons of shares, but look, it only has 14 likes, hearts, and caring about my kids. So, it's gonna die down, and that's okay. Don't be discouraged by that. I actually, when I shared it this time, I think I got $200 in donations within 24 hours. Okay. So just because it's not liked and loved and people are commenting all over the place about it doesn't mean that people aren't seeing it. It still got 10 shares. So don't let that discourage you. Okay. When you share it to Facebook, make sure that you're making it public. So I know a lot of people like to be really private, and that's great. But when you share something like a GoFundMe up here, make sure that you hit public so that this enables people to share it and more people to see it. Okay. Also, if you're hashtagging, people can't see it. Like if you hashtag and it's sharing to friends only, people can't see the hashtag. So they're kind of worthless. GoFundMe also can't see your post. I don't believe. So just make sure that you make it public. Something you can also do, so just a few ideas, and I did this in the very beginning, is if you share, say it's like the second time you've shared your GoFundMe page and you're saying, you know what, I want to really try to get 100 shares by the end of the week. So you could, and this is totally up to you. You don't have to do this. I love doing things like this, so I think it causes more engagement, is to write something like, if you share this, you'll be entered to win a $15 Starbucks gift card, right? Just something fun and gets people wanting to share it. People are like, okay, yeah, I'll click. And by the end of the week, you announce who won the gift card. I like doing that. I know some people don't love doing those types of things. I've done it with plenty of stuff and always feel as though it gets a lot more people seeing my GoFundMe. Okay, so that's just an idea. All right. So, when you share it also, so I think the first time you share it, like I said, is going to be when you get the most engagement. So in the description right here, along with tagging GoFundMe and putting some hashtags, I would also just put a shortened version of what your GoFundMe is all about, so that people aren't totally taken back and can read it and know when they're clicking on it what they're about to get. Okay. Again, these are just suggestions. I'm not sure if that makes it or breaks it, but just some things that I did that I think really helped. Okay. So that's Facebook. I think Facebook is probably the biggest platform to share it on from my own experience. That's where I've gotten the most donations. But also Instagram is one that you're going to want to share it on. So with Instagram, though, what we don't want to do is we don't want to have a screenshot of it and then try to put a link in the description, because you can't click on them on Instagram. So there's plenty of times that I go to somebody's page and I want to click on the link, but I can't click on it and I can't highlight it to copy it. And it's really annoying. So I'm just done with it. Okay. So what I suggest is setting up something that's called Linktree. And it's so easy, you guys. So it looks like this. If you just go to linktree.com, this will come up. And this is where you can put anything you want in here. And people on your Instagram will be able to click on your link in your profile. So you can just say link in profile, go check it out. You put a description, you put a description for what it is. And there it is, right? So people can say, oh, there's the GoFundMe that she's talking about in that post. Okay. the more convenient for everybody, the better. Convenience is a really big factor, I think, when it comes to people donating, right? Okay, so we have Facebook, Instagram. Also, one thing with Instagram, I should point out, if you know somebody with a lot of followers, ask them to share it. Don't be afraid to ask them to share it. I had, I don't know if you know who Emma Rylan is, but she's a famous actor that my brother knows. I asked her to share my GoFundMe and she shared it. So people are willing to share it. Just reach out to them and say, hey, I'm really trying to raise funds. Would you mind sharing it? The worst they can say is no. Okay, right? Nothing changes at the end of the day. You just got to know, right? So don't be afraid to share it. Twitter is another one where you want to make sure to put GoFundMe, the actual Twitter account, part of your post, like tag it, because they also will repost on Twitter. Reddit, right? So any of these that you use, I don't use Twitter and Reddit so much. And then an email list. So those are the main ways to share it, right? Super easy, right? Okay. Also, so who do we share this with? I think that the way to have a successful GoFundMe is to really share it with everyone you possibly can. There are plenty of times I'm talking to people and, you know, I get questions like, hey, are their glasses real? I get that question all the time. I don't know when I'll stop getting that question, but it's a perfect time to say, yeah, they're real. And they actually, and then I give people the whole spiel about what my kids have. And yeah, I give them the GoFundMe link. Okay. So a way to do this and make this really simple is GoFundMe gives you the opportunity to, and I don't know if it will me because I've already done it, but right here, when you first create a GoFundMe, you can change this link name to something that you can remember. So they're going to make an automatic one for you and it's going to be just a bunch of letters and numbers that are really long. I suggest making something that you can remember. So when you're out in public or you're with somebody and you're like, oh, what is my GoFundMe link? You have something you can easily write down or send to them, just as another way of convenience, right? So I guess the category too, I didn't even think of this part, but make sure it says medical illness and healing, because there's lots of people that want to donate specifically to those types of GoFundMes. But yeah, so I mean, that's what I have for you guys. It's easy. I think if we could get every parent of a kid with LCA CRB1 doing one of these and, you know, have a goal of 10,000 or 5,000 or 10,000, we could raise a whole lot of money if we all team up and do this together. I know when I did this, I did not think I was going to get over $20,000 ever. And it's been really easy to do. So if you guys have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I know this is simple, but if you have any questions about how to go about it, or you're struggling with how to share it, or you're not getting much engagement, I'm more than willing to talk to you about it. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking while you were, wait a minute, I'm trying to get us back to all of us here. While you were talking, I was thinking about, wait, how do I get us back to the big screen? All of us. We don't want a spotlight. Let's spotlight on Kim. Let's remove the spotlight on you. Let's see. Nope. Gallery. Here we go. Okay, now I got us all on the recording. So one thing I was thinking, Brooklyn, is we have CRB1 and CRBF stuff at some of the board members' houses, like T-shirts and quarter zips. We should come up with maybe, so we're sending this out, what is this, the second week of February that we're sending this out to everyone, and we're going to have it evergreen somewhere on either our website or something for families. But I was thinking, why don't we do maybe around Rare Eye Disease Day, the 28th, whatever families have a GoFundMe, that we can do a week of, you know, certain donations. If you get donations and tag us or whatever, we can do a drawing of prizes there.
That's a great idea. That's fun. I think that gets everybody wanting to do it and engaged in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was something, oh, and I was also thinking, whenever you do the hashtag GoFundMe and hashtag CRB1. If you're on whatever the platforms are where CRBF is, tag us, and then we can share also. Now, what'll be great is if there's so many that we have to stop sharing, but let's cross that bridge when we get to it. For now, the first one's in, we're going to reshare all your stuff. And we have quite a bit of followers. We're on Twitter as @CureCRB1. Facebook is Curing Retinal Blindness. I think it's Curing Retinal Blindness. And we didn't do the other platforms because we ran out of brain cells, but that was, and one thing I will add to all of those incredible, I was actually taking notes on your social media suggestions for everything I do. They were so good. One thing I've had some really good success on Instagram, because it is my least favorite platform, is the DMs, sending links in the direct messages to the people that I know to say, hey, can you go do this, and put because you can put a link in there to people. Yes. But I love that link tree. And you guys that are watching this, if you can, do we still say rewind in 21? That's still a word, right? Rewind, reverse, whatever the word is that the kids are saying these days. You can go back to all these little sections, set it up, pause, go through and make sure it's all set up, then come to the social media part where Brooklyn was talking about all those different intricacies to get it out there. And then I think that we'll have great success with this. And I also want to add that if you do raise $10,000, that's the annual threshold to be nominated to be on the board of directors, to meet the researchers, and to guide where all of this fundraising is going. So it's a really great incentive. And that's how, Brooklyn from a GoFundMe got onto our board of directors, which at first we were like, how many of us have been in rainy, muddy, literally grassroots events that we have hosted, and Brooklyn is the smart one, sitting at home on the computer.
COVID did it.
It's brilliant. It's a brilliant idea. So I'd love to see a bunch of families chime in with it. I'm going to look at my notes. Anything else, Kim or Mike, that you guys heard that you want to ask or clarify?
No, that was great just to see all that, because I didn't know about that stuff. I've never done a GoFundMe. I didn't realize it was that easy to do. I like the link tree thing. That's cool. I don't do much with social media. I'm not really into all that stuff. Instagram, I don't, but I'm going to start one and use all that stuff. That was awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, good job. Good job.
Yeah, especially the template. You guys get Brooklyn's template and just put it in there and change. And you don't have to think of anything. You just have to make sure it's your kids and not in there. Your family would be like, where did these kids come from? But that's the gold mine right there. You don't have to come up with all of the wording. So this was absolutely awesome. Brooklyn, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you for questions.
Yeah. So if you want to send me, actually, I'll just do my email. That's probably the easiest. So it's just my name, Brooklyn, and then another N, and then my last name, Spirito. So SPIRITO, Spirit with an O at the end, at gmail.com. So if you just want to email me there, I will make sure to get back with you.
Awesome. All right. Well, this was absolutely fantastic. Now let's see that little barometer ticker thing go up with all the fundraising. And honestly, after COVID and all of the outdoor typical events that we had done were canceled, this was quite the, it wasn't even a breath of fresh air. It was like oh my goodness, oxygen into the organization, and now showing us that we don't have to be doing these hardcore events. We can try stuff like this. And let's see if in 21 now, this is the year that we massively bounce back in a huge way to be able to fund all the stuff that is coming our way. Because I got to tell you this also, with all the hashtags and sending the GoFundMe and keeping CRB1 engaged in social media, it draws so much attention to the organization, and people say, what is that? Let me get involved. And a lot of times it's researchers that want to get on board, and they're applying now for our funds to keep moving us forward. And all the funds that you all raise with GoFundMe are going to help. So thanks for all this. Thank you, Brooklyn. Thanks, Hoffmans. And thanks to everybody that tuned in. Any questions, give us a holler. We'll see ya.